What's up, bro? What's up, man? How you doing?
Good.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, man. I got to start with the combine, because I ran a 4.33, and I thought that was fast. But then you ran a 4.27, man. First of all, how did that feel to run that fast?
It felt good just to be in the 4.2, but I still feel like it's some, it always feel like things you can work on. I just feel like I still could have had a better time.
Better than 4.27?
Yeah, I was expecting to be in 4.2s, but I mean, I did a lot of training on it.
Yeah.
A lot of training, and that was something I emphasized every day, no matter what we was doing.
What was the biggest part of that training? Was it getting out the blocks, like those first 10 steps?
Really just my first 4 steps. Because me, I'm a stand-up runner, so once I get up and going, I feel like that's where I'm gonna pick up my speed and make up my time. So it's really like getting out of my first 4.
Yeah.
And once I get that first 4 steps, as long as I can get it in the ground and get some distance, then I'm good.
How was the process for you at the combine? Like from the day you got there to the day you left?
I tell everybody it's a mind game. I mean, it's the thing that you gotta know what you're there for, and you gotta be focused on everything. I mean, you got constant pulling and pushing. So you're doing meetings, you're going medical testing, you got psychological tests. You still gotta do, you gotta find some time to get a physical workout in, because you don't want to sit around for 4 or 5 days doing nothing.
Was it everything you expected, or was it a little bit different?
It was a little bit different. I mean, I kind of didn't know what to expect, so I was just learning on the go.
What are some of the things that you learned at Alabama?
You gotta always go 100. I mean, you can't take a day off, especially when you got competition like that, because anybody can come get you. When you got players like that, you never know how many chances you're gonna get at anything. So you gotta always be at the top of your game and take advantage of every time you get it.
Would you say it's a level of competition at Alabama that also pushed you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, competition, not even just as the players, but competition as far as just a family. Once you build that bond, we competed with everything. So, I mean, that's going to make you better. You don't want to go in the film room with, your running backs and everybody talking about, oh, you ain't do this play. Look at you. You always want to be on top of your game, because you don't want to go back and film and then have everybody joking on you.
What are your expectations now for the NFL draft?
Get towards the draft and just to see where I end up and where I land and where my future will be for the next couple of years.
What about your family? And how do they feel about this?
They probably more excited than I am, or show it more than I do. But I mean, I'm taking it in, and I know they behind me, and I know they got my back. So I'm still just gonna go hard for them.
Where do you want to go?
I'm from
Everybody
the South.
got a place in there.
I'm from the South, so I rarely been out.
It ain't gonna happen, by the way. I just want to ask you.
I rarely been out of Alabama, so if you ask me, I want to be somewhere in the South.
And when was the first time that being drafted in the NFL, to getting a chance to live out your dream, became a reality for you?
Honestly, just past season. I went into college knowing that, I was a raw talent. I only played 2 years of high school, so I'm just like, I'm of course gonna compete and do what I'm gonna do, but I never knew that it would be like this. And junior year, I mean, that's when it became a reality. Once I started, hearing from people, because I don't really watch TV or listen to the mocks or things like that. But people telling me what people are saying, and that's when it started to become a reality.
Who were some of the guys that you looked up to?
Family, I mean, my dad was one person that's my biggest critic, so nothing I did, he'll never acknowledge the good things I did. So say I have a 4 touchdown game, he'll talk about the one time I ran out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? So
He's trying to keep you right up here. That's all he don't want it to go to your head.
That type of thing just gave me a mentality that you got to do perfect. And I always told myself that one day I'm going to make him say that, make him talk about the good things and not just the bad things. So that was a big influence. My best friend, he was somebody that pushed me. He bragged on me before I even got on the field.
Who else? Were there any receivers that you kind of watched that you kind of try to pattern your game after? Like for me, growing up, Barry Sanders was my guy. So I always wanted to be Barry Sanders. And even on the football field, I would try to be like Barry Sanders. Calvin Johnson. When I got to Detroit, he's built differently than us. Like he's 6'6", long arms, and runs a 4.3. You know what I mean? Like, you think about that.
Well, coming up all through high school, once Braxton Miller and Tavon Austin, there was 2 guys that I watched. When Braxton made, after the injury, he made the transition to receiver. That was one person that I kept a close eye on.
Yeah, and then Tavon Austin.
Yeah.
What about him? What was the thing that you liked?
Just explosive.
Speed?
Yeah, he wasn't. I was always small, so just looking at a guy like him, it just kind of trying to take take things like that. And of course, he had that speed too.
Well, you ain't small, I can tell you that, man. This receiver's a lot smaller than you.
I like Jarvis though. That's one guy, Jarvis and D-Hop. So those big hands guys, and that's one thing I try to take into my game. Of course, I'm a speed guy, but I want to be known for hands. And low drops. You know?
So what do you do for that then?
If you ever see me, I'm always doing some kind of, just messing with my hands, or whenever I'm, in practice or something, I'm doing all kind of unorthodox things. So like, I'm catching balls like this way or this way, the ways that you're not supposed to catch it, just because you never know in the game, now it's comfortable, so it don't make me no difference.
When you look back on this thing right now, and in 10 years when I talk to you, what's that story gonna read? What's it gonna look like?
Whenever I talk about my game, I want to be known as efficient. In college, I wasn't, the top guy, and didn't have the stats that everybody else had. But if you go and look into my numbers, low drops, and whenever it's coming to me, I'm making my play. Yeah. And that's all I can say. So, like I said, I want to be known as efficient. Whenever the ball's in the air, it's coming my way, it's gonna come down with me.
Pro Bowls, Super Bowls?
Of course, that's gonna come.
I just want to check, man. I don't know. Everybody don't want to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got a Super Bowl. That's big, especially coming from Alabama. All you want to do is win. That's about all I know.
Y'all Alabama dudes a little different, man. Y'all always fall back on that Alabama championships, and I always talk to a lot of guys, man. So one of my good friends is Roman Harper, and we used to have battles in the locker room, man, talking trash back and forth. Whose school is better than who? You know what I mean? Who could have beat who at that time? Yeah. And I know there's a lot of pride, man, in your school, as it should be, man, because you guys really represent the game the right way. Obviously, got a great coach, great players. Just take it easy on everybody else, man. We all can't be Alabama and win a championship.
So how you go about that? Because I got guys that you go from Alabama, that a winning team, and all everybody want to do is win. It's a winning culture to the NFL, where, like you said, it's a selfish thing where people just trying to do for their family and do for themselves and be just themselves. So how do you go about
manage
that?
it? Yeah. Listen, man, I think for me, coming out of college, I had all the accomplishments, had the name, I had it all. And so when I got to the league, there were obviously a lot of people who wanted to take shots at me. Like, people want to make a name off of you because of where you went, because of accomplishments that you had. It comes with the territory, man. You went to that good school, y'all balled out, you won lots of games. There are a lot of people that's jealous of that. It's just to be 100% honest. There's a lot of people that's gonna be jealous of just that. What you gotta do is, man, you gotta rise above it. Take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is. Obviously, stay humble, like you already are, and just continue to work your butt off. Because the one thing that cannot be denied is the body of work that you put in. You know what I mean? On that football field daily, they can't deny that. Guys will be watching. Guys in the locker room will be watching, because they're gonna know, who you are, and they're gonna know about that 4.27 too. Use that on the field to motivate people, man. I think that's the best way you can do it, because you don't want to fight people with words and, social media and all that stuff. Forget all that, man. You go on that football field, work your butt off, inspire people. Some of the people that have inspired me through my career, one is Drew Brees. Getting a chance to watch Drew Brees as a rookie in the league and watching the way that he worked on a daily basis really motivated me and really put me in the mindset of, okay, if Drew Brees is working like this, why am I not working like this? You know what I mean? And there was times where I would try to beat Drew into the locker room because I always knew he was the first person. He was always the first one in the locker room. I would pull up, it'd be one car in the parking lot. It wouldn't even be coaches in there yet. It'd be one car in the parking lot. I walk in, and Drew already be in there watching film. You know what I mean? He is a true student of the game. And that's the thing I would say, if you want to play 10 plus years in this league, you got to become a true student of the game. You got to study your opponents day in and day out like no other, man. You got to study yourself. You know what I mean? You got to be critical of yourself too, because sometimes it can be hard to be critical of ourselves, because, we think so highly of ourselves and things that we can do, but there's sometimes things that we need to improve on as well, right? To become that great all-around receiver and which you can do. So, Drew Brees was a guy that motivated me, that I got a chance to watch. He's still one of my good friends to this day. And it's funny, still to this day, Drew was still doing them same things. He's still showing up, one of the first ones in the locker room, last one to leave the football field. And that's why guys follow him. You know what I mean? That's why the team has been successful. And Drew has been carrying that torch, for all of us, And even though we're not playing, we still look at Drew and all the guys on that team, and they carry a piece of us with them. What other questions did you think you had?
Transitioning. What's the hardest part about it?
I think it's the speed of the game. And that's why I said for you, speed is the one thing you can't teach. So when I got to the league, the biggest transition for me was on the field because it's much faster than college. Them windows, them slant routes you catching and taking, to the house and the college level, those windows are gonna close a lot faster. So timing is gonna be so important for you and for your quarterback. You said that you like to stay on the football field late to work on routes and catching the ball. Stay that way through your whole career, because that's gonna be the thing that's gonna separate you from everybody else. Even if you gotta drag your quarterback out there, like, listen, we're not leaving this field to correct whatever that drop was that we had in practice, you know what I mean? Or if it's you and another receiver, like, let's go out here and catch some of these balls on this jugs machine, stuff like that. To me, the transition was always in the speed of the game, because guys play faster mentally. Everybody's fast, everybody's big and strong, but when guys are playing faster mentally, now, that's where the game changes. And the safeties are coming quicker, you know what I mean? And the corners are closing faster, so that's what I would say, the biggest transition.
Just in the heat of the game, because one thing that we always did on the sideline, and some of the coaches, we had all the different coaches they ain't like, but on the sideline, we never got into it or never had attitudes, even if we was down.
Yeah.
Like, we always on the sideline laughing and just joking and have a good time, because we never felt like, we was going, we're down, but we gonna.
You always feel like you was in it.
Yeah.
And also, I believe football is very stressful. It's a very stressful sport, just in the way that it's built, right? Like, each play to play, like, you like I gotta do this, you got a lot of things you gotta worry about, right? And, to me, anytime you can make the game fun, because the game should be fun. A lot of times we forget to make this game fun, but in that game, in that heat of battle, we forget to have fun and just kind of just sit there and take it in. You in the NFL, that's something you should be proud of. And you should never take that for granted, because it is a privilege to play in this game. And there's a lot of guys just as talented as you who didn't last or who never made it. You know what I mean? I'm sure you play with guys like that. I got a bunch of guys that I play with like that. So you only played 2 years of football in high school, and that was it. What was you doing before that?
Basketball.
Playing basketball.
Yeah.
And what happened? What changed? What changed that?
11th grade, I just tried. My coaches, the football coaches came at me like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it was more so like I was going out to prove something, and I just happened to have a breakout year, like 19 touchdowns, 1,100 receiving yards, and that was in my first year playing, so it was just like, you can't not play again. And unfortunately, my best friend got killed in a car accident. So it's like that drive and passion that I have for basketball, going into the gym 3 and 4 times with him a night, or just going into the gym late at night, it didn't sit well with me, so I'd rather be on the field.
Since your best friend's passing, man, how has that motivated you on the field?
The long days, long nights, that was something that we always did, and he was a perfectionist, so we doing drills. If he said we got 5 shots, you gonna do that drill until you make 5 in a row. And so we was in the gym, you can just imagine 3 or 4 or 5 hours at a time. That just made me want to be perfect in everything I do, and even carry that on to the field. Whenever I do something, if I don't like it, I'm gonna stay out until I feel good.
But again, just going back in the times I've been able to be successful, it wasn't because of me. It was because of the guys around me. Right. I was a small piece to it. When you can bring together other people with you, that's what it's about, man. At the end of the day, a lot of times we get to the next level and we just focus on us, right? Because we want to get our money, our time, our shine, right? We want to get our accomplishments out there, for the world to see. And sometimes we forget to help the people next to us. And that's really what it takes to be a leader, is pulling those people along with you and showing them, like, listen, like, this is how we're going to get it done. You know what I mean? Because there's been times where I've doubted myself. You know what I mean? There's been times where I've had that doubt. That doubt has crept in, especially after you have a bad game or something, a fumble or something on the ground, and you're like, all night, you don't want to talk to nobody. That's how I was. Like, if I had a fumble in the game, like, I couldn't even talk to nobody. I don't want to talk to my family. I'm down for a whole week. I'm assuming you probably the same way.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a bad game or a drop, something like that, you're gonna go out there and work at it until it never happens again.
Right.
And I think that's great, but the one piece of advice I would want to give you, don't identify yourself with the sport, right? You're much more than a football player. And so really what that means is, and what it meant for me was, and I didn't really learn this until, you know, I got towards the end of my career. If I had a bad game, I was down. You know, I was in a bad mood. But the one thing that I learned over time was just that I was much more than a football player. So football is what you do, it's not who you are. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think the faster you can understand that, the better it will serve you at the NFL level, because it is a roller coaster, right? And there's a lot of different things that happen, because now you're going from college to a business, you know, and this business it's a big business, you know what I mean? And so I'm not trying to scare you at all, but I want you to understand it's just that there's gonna be things that are gonna be said about you sometimes. There's gonna be things that you might hear or whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent. You are who you are, period. You know what I mean? And so for me, I didn't understand that early enough, so I allowed a lot of stuff to affect me. I allowed a lot, too much, actually. If I can give you any piece of advice, man, I would just say, if you have a bad game, so what? Everybody has a bad game. You have a bad play, so what? Everybody has a bad play. Obviously, we all competitive, and that's our drive. And I also believe that it's different, you know, for me, I'm speaking just from a black athlete's perspective. Football was all I had. That was it. I only had a plan A, and it was the only way I knew it was gonna be my way out, because I was always operating from a place of fear, the fear of going back to being broke, fear of going back to being poor, fear of never making it out, right? And so what I would tell you is that don't operate from a place of fear, man. You a beast. I watched you, I studied you, man. Everything you put on that football field, there's a place for you in the league, man, and I'm excited for you. And I hope you just excited, man, because it's gonna be fun. There's gonna be some tough times. There's gonna be some good times, man. And you just gotta take it all in. You know what I mean? Take it all in for what it's worth, and fall in love with the journey. You know, fall in love with the process. You know, because that's the most important part. Because the process is where you're gonna make friends that's gonna last you a lifetime. You're gonna meet coaches you're gonna know forever. You're gonna meet people that's gonna impact your life to help you become the man that you eventually become, because we're always changing, we're always improving. I always live by this quote, and it's, your talent's gonna get you in the door, but your character is gonna keep you in the room. And that's important, because you are talented, but everybody else in the league is talented. Everybody else was All-American. You know, they was All-American in high school, All-American in different sports. How are you gonna separate yourself? And I believe that's in your character, you know, because your character is gonna be the reason why you stay out on that football field, you know, for an extra hour, working on those routes, working on that slant route, trying to perfect that one route so that in the fourth quarter, it's just like clock, like you don't even gotta think about it. The piece of advice I would give you is to put together a good business plan, you know, financial plan for you and for your family. It's so important, man. But make sure you sit down, you put together this plan. Okay, this is what I wanna be able to take care of my parents with, my family with, whoever, brothers, sisters. Stick to that. Don't go outside that, because at the end of the day, this money that you're making right now is to last you a lifetime. It's not just to go buy you a couple houses and Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and stuff like that, right? It's bigger than that. You want this to last you generations, for your kids, for your kids' kids, so that you can leave something for them. You know what I mean? And that's all about that, you know, making sure that, you know, we're thinking about the other people too, you know, not just thinking about ourselves, because it does feel good to take care of ourselves. But there's also a long line of people who we want to make sure that we take care of too. And there's a right way to do it. I know it's a lot to chew on right now, and I'm giving you some stuff, but it's all important, man. And it's something that you got to do it. You got to focus on those things. Limit your distractions so you can be the best you can be on the field, because all these different opportunities that's going to come from football is only going to happen because of your success on the field. Don't lose sight of what the driving force is. The driving force is football, right? And stay on that path, focus on that, perfect that, everything else is gonna come, you know? And a lot of time, I think now, you know, social media has really changed that narrative a little bit, because it's allowed guys to focus on their brand first, but they forget the football part, right? Like, no, we gotta do this first, you know, before we can get all that stuff. that's it, man. I'm excited for you, bro. I'm gonna give you my number too, man, because I want to stay in contact with you. Anything you ever need, I'm always here for you. You know, whatever questions that you got, I don't want nothing from you. I just want to see you ball, man. That's it.
For sure.
Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.